Hello, how are you? I'm Anna Olsen here at Insights into Consciousness on A1 Radio. I'm excited to be back. I've kind of been busy and there have been holidays and all sorts of fun stuff, but I'm really excited to share something with you that I have really been looking at and studying. And, I'm just realizing more and more how much our bodies are all connected. I'm also going to do a reading later on. But first, I wanted to look at meridians and connections to different things in the body system. Now, we know that our chakras are connected to our spine and that each group of vertebrae in our spine correlate to a different chakra, and that correlates to different systems in the body physically, like an organ or a meridian where it may be connected to a joint or a bone or a limb. So it's very interesting how this is all connected and how we can use our different information that we have about these meridian systems. And usually this is connected more to Chinese medicine, but really it's becoming more well known with regular medical doctors, nurses, dentists. And that's what I want to go into today. So dentists are, that's a field that I've been in my past, that I used to work and manage dental offices. And I was always intrigued by the work and how much emotion is connected to dental practice and people who come in to get treatment into a dental office. And that was like way back in the day when I first started out and I was just through college. But I like to look at how everything's connected and what might be most overlooked. And from working in the dental field for so many years, I know that each tooth in the mouth is assigned a number. And this makes it easy for dentists and surgeons and, even dental assistants. They can all kind of work together and assign different numbers to each tooth and know what they're going to do. I'm trying to make this as clear as possible because it's so interesting to me how everything is so connected. So usually when people have a problem with a tooth or their teeth, they go into a dentist, they get it checked out, and they do something surgically to correct the problem. This could be a filling. This could be that they have to be referred to an oral surgeon to correct something or to get a wisdom tooth out that may be impacted. Or sometimes they may need something as severe as a root canal in the dental office. And sometimes it's so hard for a dentist to take a wisdom tooth, let's say, or a molar out, that they have to refer the person to an oral surgeon. So this is actual surgery that they're doing on the tooth. Even a regular dentist, DDS, your regular family dentist, when they're drilling into the tooth and when they're filling the tooth, they're correcting a structural problem or issue that may be causing discomfort or pain. And if they're relieving discomfort or pain, we are oftentimes overlooking the whole aspect of the situation where there is an emotional thing going on, maybe that's connected to that tooth. There can very well be not just an emotional issue, but that's always correlated to a specific organ in the body through the meridian system, which in turn is correlated to actually a vertebrae in the spine, because the meridians are all connected throughout the nervous system. We're talking about the spine and the brain is the nervous system, and each vertebrae in the spine through this nervous system is assigned a meridian nerve system, a bundle that is connected to something. And this might not always connect to our mainstream and anatomical physiological studies. Okay, so I'm just going to throw that out there, that a lot of this is Chinese medicine mixed in there with some of the chakra stuff. And I like to tie it all in to see how it all correlates. And it always does correlate beautifully. And it is always connected. So I want to teach you very, very basics on what to look at if you have a problem with a tooth in your mouth. Now, first of all, we all know that we need to brush and floss every single day. We need to, have good health and everything, good nutrition, good body weight. But many people don't know that if you brush and floss regularly and your gums are healthy, that is a clear indication of your overall health. So when we're talking about inflamed gums, you have inflammation in your body. If you're not flossing, it can increase your risk of heart disease and stroke. And that's no joke. So we really need to look at this. And most people don't. They just go to the dentist, they get their filling, and they go home. and they forget about it. When in reality, what we can do is look at the emotional reason behind it, look at the nutritional reason behind it, the what do you need to do to actually take care of that meridian and that organ in the body that it's attached to. So there's a connection for every single thing. I have this little printout here. This shows like basically the numbers in the teeth. And each one is numbered. So you can look this up anywhere. This is what dentists use. This is the whole system where we number our teeth, and we have a number assigned to each tooth. Now, of course, if you had your wisdom teeth out, then the numbers 1, 16, 32, and 17 are obviously not going to be there anymore. But some people still do have their wisdom teeth. And so then this would apply to you. Now, there's a whole system in place when we're looking at each tooth number. Again, we have an upper and a lower arch with a number assigned to each tooth. And what I did is I went through and I developed a system where you can check which tooth correlates to an emotional issue, an organ in the body, and a chakra system that needs to be treated. When I'm talking about a chakra system that needs to be treated, I'm basically referring back to this is an emotional, physical, physiological, spiritual, mental process. Too many people just do surgery on the body part and forget about the rest. And they have the issue again somewhere else. It keeps coming up because you did not fix the root cause of the issue. I would even go as far as to say you can also do homeopathy because it is highly effective, highly diluted remedies that are more effective in an energetic way. So for instance, I'm just going to start off with a certain series of tooth numbers, what the emotions are that correlate to those teeth, and if you have problems with those teeth, and then the organ and the chakra system that's correlated to the vertebrae in the spine. This is all electromagnetic field process, which when we're talking about the body and its electrical impulses, processes, and fields, that it is all correlated within the meridian system in the body, energetically, physiologically, emotionally, okay? And the first one is there's tooth number 7, 8, 9, 10, 23, 24, 25, 26. These are closely correlated with your kidney and your bladder, which is one system. We know that the kidney and the bladder is a system that's closely related. We have your ureters and everything connecting the kidney to the bladder. And the emotions connected to these places is dread, void, confusion, and regret. These are correlated to the coccyx, which is the tailbone in the spine, the sacrum, which is sacral 4 and 5. There are different sections to the sacrum. When you look at anatomy, you're looking at the spine, the central nervous system. That would be the sacrum. Then we have L2 and 3. Now, L stands for lumbar, which is your lower series of vertebrae in the body. And those are all connected to sacrum is your root chakra. Second, or solar plexus, is those lumbar vertebrae. And when we're talking about any of these teeth, 7, 8, 9, 10, 23, 24, 25, 26, dread, void, confusion, regret, we're talking about the root chakra, and we're talking about the solar plexus. Solar plexus is very connected to your personal power, which doesn't surprise me that it would be connected to the emotions of dread, void, confusion, regret. Now, I do work with all of this with my clients too. Sometimes when they do have significant dental work that needs to be done, I will start asking them questions, which correlates to this entire system. And when I work with people, it's holistic. I do everything from health, and I use all of my background to like help them with like life coaching, with emotional health, with my readings, with spirit, with mediumship. And I can use it all as a really integrative process holistically to give them some really quick, instant answers when they've been looking for answers for a really long time. And so it makes me really happy to be able to use this. Let's go for another one. Let's see. One of the most common that I have seen within people who are within the readers that I've met is unhealthy obsession or addiction and self-hate. Now, there's something about addiction and people who get readings that they tend to be addictive personalities sometimes. Of course, not all, but I definitely I have like been the last ditch effort for a lot of people who are dealing with addiction. And I understand how hard it is now. I've never had an addiction issue, which I feel very blessed. I mean, knock on wood, could happen to anyone. But, I really feel like readers can be a really helpful resource for people who are suffering from addiction, because we can kind of give them a holistic viewpoint. We can dig deep into why they're addicted, what's causing this, what is the real remedy, why do they keep having to go into circles with this horrific system of like not addressing all of the issues involved. And when we're talking about unhealthy obsession or addiction and self-hate, it's usually related to, you guessed it, childhood trauma, stuff way back in your past that you may or may not remember. Teeth that correlate to that are 2, 3, 14, 20, 15, 21, 28, and 29. And those correlate to the pancreas and stomach. So again, here's our chart. These are our numbers with the teeth. Okay, so these are numbers 2, 3, 14, 20, 15, 21, 28, 29, pancreas and stomach. Oftentimes, people who have addiction issues have stomach problems with their pancreases, viruses in the pancreas, issues with insulin, issues with blood sugar, issues with feeling hungrier than they really should be or really are. They'll feel hungrier than what they, actually should feel. And this hunger stems from a misregulation in this energy system, meridian-wise, where they have kind of forgotten how to study makes the race. It's like you need to go kind of study with these things, okay? So usually what we do is we go into the really deep root chakra. We're talking about pancreas and stomach. That's where the belly button and the umbilicus is. And that's where we can, really have a connection to our mother. So I'd like to do a reading online now. I have Kelly from Scotland on the line. Hi, Kelly.
Hi,
How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Wonderful. So you called in for a reading today for free. I'm glad you got through. I always think that there's a reason for everything and that there are no mistakes. So I'm happy to have contact with you. And I'd like to do a reading for you now, if that's okay with you.
Yes, please, and thank you.
Huh? Do you have a specific question, or do you have a specific topic you would like the focus to be on today?
On love, please.
Love. Okay. Let me focus on love for you. The first thing that I'm feeling is the power of a man who has a very strong personality. And this could be somebody from your past, present, or future. Do you have somebody that you are seeing now that you that you have questions about?
Yes, there is someone around.
Okay. Is he like it's almost like he feels like a rugby player, a football player, or something like that. He just seems really like large stature, like he's strong and he has a really strong personality.
Yes.
Okay. So that's who's coming through. That's what's coming through for you with love. I feel like he is a very strong presence in your life. I do feel a soul connection with him. So when we're talking about this man, this is kind of where we kind of get into I think as women, we get a little confused because we know that we're supposed to have a connection with this person, but the person that we're with is struggling to communicate with us. When we're having trouble in our relationship, it's like the communication is off. It's hard to understand them. It's really difficult to communicate. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay, because this man feels very to the point. He doesn't really mince words. He doesn't really sweeten things up when he talks. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So spirit is telling you that if you really want to work things out with him, to get to a point where you have to almost put an energetic barrier with, I guess, in between you and he when you're communicating. So spirit is saying you have to really let things slide off. And sometimes if that's his opinion, it's just what he thinks from his background, his perspective, and his way of life, and that it isn't anything personal. It's just his perspective. And that if you asked another five people, they may come up with something completely different.
Yeah.
And just to remember that just because he says something doesn't mean number one, that it's true. And secondly, it just means that's where he is in his spiritual development.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have any questions so far?
So can I trust them? Is he trustworthy?
Can you repeat that, please?
Do you think like I can trust them? Is he like trustworthy or people or?
I do think that he is trustworthy. However, what I'm feeling from him is that he has to really feel like his investment within the relationship is going to have a large enough payoff for his effort.
Okay.
It feels very transactional for me, kind of like he can be trusted, but there's just this trick to his personality where he's a man's man. He's very um he's very lacking in feminine energy, I guess you could say, because some men really do have a good amount of feminine energy, but he has very little, and he's never been in touch with that. So you'd have to really get into your feminine element, meaning when you're around him, it would have to be very compassionate, patient, kind, loving, not passive. You want to have boundaries and you want to be strong, but you have to do it in a very loving, compassionate way. And that would really balance his very strong masculinity.
Okay.
And now that goes into more of like where I'm seeing for you, there may be some things from your past that you're still healing from. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because I feel like maybe father figure, maybe just males in the past, you've lost trust with them because of some pain that they've caused you.
Yes.
Okay. So when we go into this place as women where we've been hurt by men, what can happen is we become scared of that happening again. We become overly careful with the men that are in our lives. And then they feel like there may be something wrong. It's not really that there's something wrong with us, it's that we are really trying hard to protect ourselves from that ever happening again.
Yeah.
So
I
what
think that's
spirit
why
is,
I sorted doubt.
what's that?
I think that's why I maybe felt like doubt in my head.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to let go of the fear of being hurt once you've been hurt. However, it's important to at least act in a way when you're with him where there's not a substantial worry about it, that there's not an insecurity there, just because that sends off a signal to him that you're not strong and stable and you don't have good boundaries. And that kind of makes men lose a little bit of trust for women because they start to think, well, I've done everything I can to make her happy. Why isn't she happy? You know,
Yes, I think.
it's not that they're right. It's that they just don't understand it, of course, because they've never been a woman and they've never been hurt like you have.
Yes.
And so spirit is saying, go to the women in your life and talk to them about it. Get it out that way. When you're feeling those things, you go to the women you can trust. Some people even have, a therapist, a reader, a close friend, somebody that they're close with that they can talk to, because men are not as verbal. Spirit's showing me how this man is sort of looking to the side at anybody who's just talking about their feelings a lot, and he's not even understanding why they're doing that.
Do you think he's speaking to other women as well?
Mm-hmm. So you can really you can really do well with him speaking of things like the relationship in almost like a business-like manner. But emotions really need to be left out of it if you want to work it out with him. Otherwise, you'll have to find another person who has more connection with the feminine, who was probably raised by more women, or more closely raised by women who can be more comfortable with a very verbal, language-based, emotional conversation, because he just is not comfortable with that. If you really want to work this out with him specifically, you have to really step back on the emotion, only spend that energy with the women in your life, or like with, anybody who can listen to that. And with him, it needs to be very business-like, transactional, and you guys could be very happy together, but it would take a good amount of months of this being the regular for him to open back up and be vulnerable to really being close. And then I really think the trust would be better then too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Relationships are hard. I've been with my husband for 18 years, and there's always a new thing to work on. There's always a new thing to learn.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's, men and women are so incredibly different, and we always hear that, but they're almost like living with an alien sometimes.
Yeah.
And this is why we need our sisters, because we understand each other. And I don't know about you, but I can listen to my sister or my friend, my girlfriend, just talk about what she's feeling, and she can cry and she can do whatever she needs to do. And I'm just like, oh, good, that was really productive. But you put most men in that situation and they're terrified.
Yeah, definitely.
They don't know what to do. They think something's very wrong. They wonder if you need a psychologist, or, what you expect from them. And they're left like with wide eyes, like deer in the headlights, like, okay, maybe if I can escape, they just don't deal with this the same way. And not that I think you're throwing yourself at somebody emotionally, but I'm just pointing out, the differences. And,
Yeah.
I think that you have a really beautiful, gentle heart. I'm really seeing that you do. And you expect that of other people because that's your experience in the world.
Yeah.
So when a man begins to just be a man around you, you can feel very sensitive to that because of the hurts from the past, and because it feels more painful to you.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think it would be great for you to kind of be around more of like your feminine divine, the sisters in your life who will really kind of be more comfortable with that. And with him, try to just make it more business-like, less emotional, in a not even critical way, just more like less emotional in like you're venting. I mean, you need to be able to vent to him too, but just very keep it light, and be careful about getting too heavy with the emotion, because he really doesn't know what to do with it. He has never been trained in that. And
Mhm.
I think that's what you're dealing with. I think right now what you're picking up on is that you can't really trust him emotionally. I do not think that he'd run off and have an affair or anything like that. It just, to me, it feels like he's not sure how to proceed emotionally. So he doesn't know how to trust that space as of now.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, it doesn't matter if you're, the most gorgeous woman on the planet and you're with the man. They tend to look around at other pretty women just by instinct. And that doesn't have anything to do with you. It's absolutely just natural, and like they just tend to like notice, and then kind of have to like focus back. That really has nothing to do with if you can trust them or not. Had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I just think obviously if he was to be involved with other women, that's when the shutters go up. So it's like, no, see you later.
Right. No, I don't see him doing that. I'm sorry, I'm out of time. If you'd like to finish up with this reading, or you'd like to contact me again, you can reach me at AnnaOlsenIntuitive.com. It's at the bottom of the screen, and that's ANNAOLSEN intuitive.com. Thank you so much for calling in, Kelly. I wish I had more time with you. It's so neat to connect with somebody from Scotland. I'm really excited about that.
Thank you very much.
But you have a wonderful day, and I wish you all the luck and love and light in the world.
You too. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I know. Well, that was interesting. You know, I saw this big man. He's like muscular and amazing and strong, and you know, he's like lifting heavy things. You know, you see this beautiful woman with a good heart, you know, saying, hey, can we talk about our emotions? And this is kind of how this works out sometimes. The Spirit shows me the relationship and all of the different angles. So I need to go, but thank you so much for watching today. I'll be